Hello and welcome to the Physiology of Endurance Running podcast. We're back with another episode of Road to London, joined as always by Dan. How are you doing, Dan?
Could be better. Could be better.
More
Which
foreshadowing.
we'll get into that.
Yeah. Before we get into that, as always, we're sponsored by Saw. Saw make really, really good running clothes. Not that this series is about my training, but I also felt a bit rubbish this weekend. Not as rubbish as you, but felt a bit rubbish. And then yesterday I was like, let's get back to it. Put on a full Saw outfit. I felt really good. I stepped out the door and I was like, my clothing's really nice, and I had a good run. So I'll put it down to Saw.
Yeah. You just got to dress how you intend to dress for success and all that, isn't it?
But yeah, if you want some really good quality running clothing, if you're running London, and chances are you're also not in the elite start, then you'll be carrying some gels hopefully. And yeah, Saw shorts are a good way to carry those gels around the London course.
Yeah, both for half tights and split shorts. Both really good, aren't they?
Yeah. So what is it? 6 weeks to go, starting on the 10th of March. And so this is Monday. We recorded the first episode on the Monday, and I think we got some messages right of people saying you sounded a bit nasally. When we recorded.
Yeah. So I think I left. I had a solid like 12 days of training, and then on the Friday last week I'd been pretty. I'd tried to do a session and I'd been a bit tired, and I said, but I'd just go to jog for 2 days. So I jogged 30 minutes Saturday, 30 minutes Sunday. But actually on the Friday, I think I said in my episode, on the Friday afternoon, I started to go down with a bit of a cold, like nasally, like you said, and just like feeling a bit crappy, to be honest. And mucusy and all that lovely stuff. So that's where we left off. So Monday, I'm pretty much feeling like the same. Legs are just really heavy. And went out to do. I've been feeling a bit better on Monday. I think I went out to run just after we recorded. My intention was to do 10 miles. I did 5. Just felt like I didn't want to do any more. Legs heavy, feeling a bit rubbish, breathing just a little bit off, and it was fine. Like I ran 4:22. I'm mixing my miles and Ks here, but I ran 4:22 a K. Heart rate was super low. Averaged 114, which for me is like very low for that. Maybe too low, I don't know. But yeah, so that was Monday. Tuesday, I again just went for a jog. I did half an hour, 4:21 a K, so 7.4 K. Still feeling a bit naff, but wanted to keep. I then did do like literally 11 minutes of gym afterwards because I just wanted to keep in touch with it, and I felt like it was more like my breathing being off, which is the main symptom. But I didn't want to push the running, and I felt like, well, strength training shouldn't influence my. It's not going to stress my respiratory system, and I could just keep in touch with it. Just my energy levels aren't great, but I'll just literally do. I think I just did squats, and some calf raises, like weighted calf raises, and that was about it. And I thought, all right, that's enough to maintain stuff. And then Wednesday I was feeling a bit better. I've put on my Strava. Finally seemed to have gotten over this cold. I did 10 miles on my hilly loop. 419 meters of elevation gain. Average pace 4:36 a K, grade adjusted pace according to Strava 4:16 a K. And actually this is the first run where since Saturday basically my legs have just felt like lead on every run, and this one felt good. And I felt, all right, I'm out of this now. And yeah, felt like I'm recovered from this cold. And then the next day, so what's that? Thursday, I thought, right, I still want to just keep it easy, but I'm going to double this time. So I did 16K in the morning. Feeling pretty good, 406 a K. I actually noticed my heart rate is super high on this one for me, like 132 beats per minute. Although I'm feeling all right, it's heart rate has gone from being really low to really high. And that felt good, but then in the evening I went to double. I did 10K, including 5 by 100 meters. And here I started feeling my lungs again. Like, it just breathing didn't feel good. I don't know how to describe it. It just didn't feel good. I, um, so this felt like a bit of a slog. Um,
I
was
think I'm. I think sometimes I find, at least, it's hard to articulate to people that don't run that, like, you know you're going to feel it a percentage or two off, whether that's your lungs like feeling funny, or like, your heart rate being a bit higher, or a little bit of DOMS. Like, you feel it when you run this much. And then maybe there's an element of, like, then it's in your head and then it spirals, but like it's a tiny bit off. So like someone will probably look at this and be like, well, you've run 418 a K, like you you must be all right, but actually you know that it's not quite right, because you're just in tune with your body, aren't you?
Yeah, 100, yeah, definitely. And like, again, like here, I think my heart rate was pretty high for this as well. Like, what did I average? 129, like for, I obviously I've got the sprints in there as well, but for 418 a K. Um, and I noticed on the sprints, actually, I've been doing this a little bit, 5 by 100 or 300 meter jog. And normally my heart rate would get to like 150 at the end, whereas I peaked at 160 for this. I just like, even I finished with a 5 by 100, and even in the first 30 minutes of just easy running, I could just see my heart rate was like 5 to 10 beats higher than it normally would. So that was Thursday. Friday, I thought, right, maybe the afternoon was just a bit of a blip. Felt so good in the morning, despite heart rate being high. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do a session, but I'm going to go on the treadmill, because I know what my body how my body should respond to the different speeds. I'm so well calibrated to that lab treadmill that I know what should feel normal, what my heart rate should be, what my lactate level should be. So I did a bit of a warm up, and again, like, I always do 10 minutes at 14K an hour. And typically my heart rate would be 118 to 120, that sort of ballpark. And it was 129 doing 14K an hour, and I thought, well, that's not a good start, but we'll give the intensity a bit of a go. So I think I did 10 minutes of that. Then I did 3 minutes at 15, 3 minutes at 16, 3 minutes at 17. And again, like, the whole time thinking, well, my heart rate's quite high here. So just swapped into some meta speeds. Did 1 time 6 minutes at 18K an hour. So I thought I'd start conservatively, thinking hopefully I can build into it. And again, just breathing felt off. Heart rate was high relatively for the effort. Lactate was fine, but like it was 1.3, which is pretty normal, but it should be like 1.3 at 18 and 19, and probably 19 and a half as well sometimes. So you can't take too much from that. And just decided, right, I'm going to call it a day. I still feel okay, but I don't want to push for intensity yet. Jogged it in to get up to 45 minutes. And then I went straight to the gym, because again, I actually felt all right apart from the respiratory stuff. So did a bit longer in the gym, 36 minutes, 3 seconds. And I also thought, well, I'm not, because I'm doing it after quite a big session. I might be able to push it a bit more. And I did, I finished my squats, which I sort of see as one of the key exercises, with 4 reps of 80 kilos. I normally do 5, but I buckled on the on the 5th one and managed to. Luckily, I had the safety bars across. It just now ducked out of it. But for me, that's pretty much as strong as I've ever been, or as much as I've ever squatted, with good technique and going down to parallel and all that. So that was a bit of a positive to the week, I guess. Did some calf stuff, did some hamstring stuff, some glute stuff. Started adding a bit of plyos, which is something I wasn't doing in the build up to Valencia. Just some box jumps and some drop jumps. Something new. But yeah, sort of, even then I was sort of feeling like, well, if I can get back to running properly in the next couple of days, it'd be fine. But then that afternoon, I started to feel quite a bit worse, and started coughing. And Jemima and I had been coughing all week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I'd been feeling rough as well, but not been coughing. So I sort of thought, well, I've just got the same as what they've got. They're both coughers. I will. Jemima's horrendous. Anything sets her off, and she's coughing all the time. So I thought that I've got the same as them. I've just got different symptoms. But then over the weekend, I started to have exactly the same symptoms as them. So Saturday I didn't run. Sunday I didn't run. Started coughing a lot, like coughing, like to a point where I've got like a sore, like brachial tree from just like all the respiratory muscles just been worked too much. And basically the whole weekend I felt really quite awful. So I think what happened was I had a cold and then caught another cold, because I did feel like Wednesday I was like, yeah, I'm good. Thursday morning, good. And then it went downhill again, but with slightly different symptoms. Just feeling actually worse than I had earlier in the week. So Saturday, Sunday, I didn't run. We might as well go up, I think, to the current day, because we're a little bit late recording, and there's nothing else to report apart from Monday I didn't run, and it's Tuesday today, right? It's Tuesday. Tuesday. I won't be running today either. I nearly did go this morning. I thought, oh, you know what? I woke up first thing and felt okay. I thought I'll do 20 minutes, see how I feel. But then I've just been coughing loads. And it's a bit time of day dependent. Like I'm all right now, but like this morning I was really bad. And in the evenings I tend to be bad. So I don't know if it's just like body rhythms, diurnal, however you say it, variation. But
diurnal,
so that's for running. It's been one of not the worst weekend of my life, but a very challenging weekend because we've all been ill. We also had our carpets done, as you put out on Instagram.
Yep.
So no, I think anyone who's renting or never have their carpets replaced, they go, oh, that sounds fine. But we had all of upstairs and the stairs booked in for Monday to be recarpeted, which obviously means removing every item of stuff you own out of upstairs, which included a treadmill, which Owain very kindly helped me get out.
I was going to say, I think that should have been, so that was Friday lunchtime. That should have been logged as weight training. We definitely will not be starting a removal business.
No.
Because you above the treadmill with like, I don't know, like what was it? Like you're basically just holding it with a ratchet strap.
Yeah, I had a car pulley strap that I'd repurposed.
Yeah, and then I was below it. And Dan lives in a terrace house, so it's a very like narrow and steep staircase. And treadmills are like, they look heavy. They're even heavier than they look.
We'd obviously taken it apart, so it was just the deck, wasn't it? But it was so heavy. Yeah, it was heavy.
Like we almost lost this entire podcast to moving that treadmill.
Yeah.
And also like Jemima did not sound well at all.
No, she's not. We've all been like. She's normally really robust. Like she did a year during COVID, she was on a respiratory ward in Merthyr, and like she's been exposed to so much stuff. Her immune system is like incredible. And she said this is the worst cold virus she thinks she's ever had. Like we've all felt just pretty dreadful. So I had the treadmill. We also had 2 double beds because Nye also has a double bed because he hated a cot as a baby. He roams around everywhere, so he's got a double bed. We've got a sofa bed up there I had to get down. Plus just like wardrobes and all this and that. It was a right pain. And then it's like, where'd you put all this stuff? So our whole but downstairs was just full of things. We went and stayed in a little hut in Cumcarn, just by where we lived for 2 nights, which would have been really nice, but we all just felt awful and the blinds weren't great. So Nigel was waking up early and all this, and the whole thing was just drama. And then we were trying to finish this decorating we were doing, so repainting the place before the carpets arrived on Monday. So it's just a combination of all of us feeling awful. No one sleeping great, loads of moving, lifting, and if it was easy just to say, you know what, we'll do it another day, we'd have done it another day. But it's one of those where once you've committed, you've got to get it done, I think. So that probably hasn't helped recovery, but at the same time, I feel like I've had a good 4 days of strength training with moving everything back up on Monday afternoon and today. But yeah, it's been pretty frustrating, to be honest.
I guess to take one positive is like all of this, I say bad stuff in terms of just purely through the lens of training for London, has happened within the same time frame. Like it'd be a bit annoying if you had like whatever like cold or virus you've had started to get back to it, and then you had to then do all of the DIY the next weekend. Like you just feel like it was never ending. Whereas
it is, and it has felt a bit like that, but at least it's done now. And I was looking at the start of the week, I was really positive, so I thought, but if I even like Friday, if I can just do something little on Friday, the session, and then back to it Tuesday, I've really not missed much time at all. And I was looking back into the build up to Valencia, and after Cardiff half, I jogged for 4 days, was ready to start training again, and I got ill and had 3 days off. And that was pretty much exactly the same time out as I got ill this time round. So basically I had a week where I did 72k with just 4 days of jogging and then nothing, and then tried to do a session on a Tuesday and just didn't feel great. That was when again I started off at 18k an hour, but my lactates were just crazy. Do you remember?
Yeah.
4 times 6 minutes, and I at 18k an hour, my lactates were coming out at like 5 millimole. Like I was like 10k pace for 320 a k, and I was like, well, I shouldn't be that unfit after missing 3 days. I then so I'm hoping that I am feeling a bit better this afternoon. Maybe I can try jog tomorrow.
Yeah. So maybe
time.
I was going to say maybe like what do you think if you start to feel better fairly like linearly from now? What do you think the rest of the week looks like? And then maybe next week we can compare with how it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I do just want easy running to feel consistently normal first. So even if I can, if I think best case scenario, I could do something. If Wednesday I feel okay, Thursday I feel okay, I could try and do something on Friday, a session on Friday. But probably would just do something like, I think my default is if I'm coming back from something is to do 5 or 6 minute reps at a control pace and just see how I respond to that, and just do 30 minutes of work. And then hopefully get back into a sort of normal pattern by next week. I guess probably more realistic is just jogging for the rest of a week and then hope that I can get back into a normal routine for next week. But I do think that I probably need to adapt my approach a little bit in that it's 6 weeks, 5 weeks to go. How many weeks to go now?
It would have been 6 weeks on Sunday. So yeah.
Okay.
Into 5 weeks to go.
It's a bit. So I think I probably need to. My plan, I kind of said last time, was to basically do like a more marathon specific session, either a hard long run or longer reps at marathon pace. One session per week, and that would be stupid to jump back into that sort of stuff. I always think when you're prepping for a marathon, go fitness, get fit, as in like get your thresholds good, and you could run a good half marathon. And then if you've got time, add in some of the more marathon specific stuff, and your body's ready for it. So we'll see how I would go over the next few weeks, but definitely I wouldn't be doing one of those sessions next week.
No.
I wouldn't be going. I think so. I had planned to do this week. I probably would have done a 40k run, and then the next week I'd have done like 3k on, 1k off times 8 or something like that. But I won't be doing those. I don't think. I will just do more of the interval based, like I was doing before, like an hour worth of intervals.
Yeah.
Like thresholds effort. And I think one of the questions I've seen pop up either on my Strava or whatever is when I said I'm doing threshold stuff, I'm not meaning like at LT2. I'm normally talking like between LT1 and LT2, like you were doing.
Yeah.
Which is worth clarifying, because you start off at LT2, well, quite quickly you're going to be above LT2 just with drifting, heart rate, RPE. Like you're not going to be that stable at LT2, especially when you're not super fresh. You're a bit fatigued from just high volume training. So yeah, just to clarify that.
I think I think
I
also
normally my heart rate is normally 170 LT2, so I'm typically going right. I want to be in that 160 to 170 region, and at the end I might be at 170, but for most of it I'm probably in the low 160s.
Yeah, and where like typically we've been doing stuff on the treadmill, like you don't, if you're running outdoors and you've got your heart rate on your watch, you will like slow down a bit across the rep to keep within the heart rate range you're aiming for. Whereas on the treadmill, you obviously like you can slow it down, but you don't want to be doing a rep and like hitting the slow down button. So yeah, generally it's easier to start off slow and just let the heart rate progress across the session. It's just a sort of quirk of the treadmill as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I do like the treadmill for that. You can be really, and I much prefer to build into the sessions on the treadmill as well. Like I do normally outdoors as well, but even indoors it's even more important, I think, because just psychologically you don't want to start off at 19k an hour, for example, and actually realize that after a few reps you need to bracket it down to 18 and a half. And now you're fatigued because you've already been at 19, and just psychologically it's not enjoyable. Whereas actually if you start off, and actually my first couple of reps doing the 155 to 160 part of the heart rate range, then yeah, great. But yeah, I feel like maybe it's just talking to you, Owain, but this afternoon I feel like I've turned a bit of a corner, and I feel like I can hopefully start getting back into some training. But it's annoying because I hadn't had a day off since about time I was ill in the build up to Valencia, which was the 10th of October was the last time I had a day off, and I had 3 days off then, and I hadn't missed a day since. And then it was the last week I did 68.5k, which is the lowest mileage week since May last year, where I did 50k South Downs Way and was a bit broken after that, having already just recently done Belfast Marathon and Newport Marathon. So yeah, it's just been a bad timing, really.
Yeah. I think I just had one other question which I thought might just be a useful sort of for some listeners, is when the next few days when you're doing your easy runs, like you've mentioned already, like heart rate and just general RPE, but is there anything else you're taking into account where you think, okay, I'm coming good, or no, still sort of in the bin a bit?
Yeah, I mean, definitely going back to that breathing, I think one of the things you can get yourself if you're forcing something and your breathing isn't right, that is when you start developing things like pneumonia and stuff like that. You really don't want that. And I have been mucousy, like coughing up all sorts of shit which you don't need to know about. So yeah, I think just my leg, how your legs feel as well. They're going to feel pretty rubbish after 3 days off anyway, 4 days off. So yeah, I think it's just about just the same sort of metrics as you do normally, like heart rate, RPE. I won't be using lactate on my easy runs, but yeah, the heart rate, RPE. What's my breathing like? Just generally, how am I feeling?
Yeah.
And I think if in doubt, probably take your time a bit more. It's not worth rushing, because that's when you think I'll just add in a little bit extra here, and you just set yourself back, isn't it? So
yeah. I think I find as well, like, when you finish an easy run and you're feeling all right, like I generally find I stop, I come in and I can just immediately do something. Like I don't need to sit down. I don't need to, or it doesn't feel like I'm, I don't know what the right word for it is, but you just like when I'm ill and I finish a run, you just feel like your metabolism's just still just going for like 40 minutes. And I sometimes notice it will, 60 minutes after a run, suddenly I'll then like be like, okay, like I'm relaxed now. But like for those 60 minutes, it's like your body's still like fighting. After the run, you're just sort of like, yeah, I don't know, almost, yeah, maybe that fight or flight like response is there. I tend to find that after
an adrenaline response.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know what it is, but you're just like on still after what should be an easy run, and even if your heart rate's fine. And I tend to notice over like a few days that generally reduces, and that for me is something I also like try and take note of. Yeah, if you're feeling all right, you finish an easy run and you should be, yeah, good to literally, do anything like today, like get back in and just immediately go back out, get the bins in, sort of thing. Like, whereas if you're not feeling 100%, you're cooked and you're just like, I just want to just sit down and do nothing.
Well, I've been doing that, like looking at checks drawers up the stairs, and then feeling like I need to sit down for a bit. And I guess it's also looking at those like resting variables as well. Like, I mean, my resting heart rate is normally 36, 37, and it's been up at 42, 43, and my heart rate variability, which I don't try and read too much into, because it's a little bit of a random number generator, I think. Is in what is it actually reflecting in terms of your physiology, but that's been pretty bad as well. Like, it's been outside of my normal like standard deviation curve, which I assume is how Garmin does it. Must be something like that. But yeah, and the thing is now, like, it's a bit more difficult looking at the relationship between heart rate and pace when they start building back in, because although I haven't had loads of time off, I think I would still expect some level of detraining. Like, things like your blood volume change really quickly. So I would expect my heart rate to be a little bit higher for an easy run going back now, if I ran today, for example, compared to where it was a week ago, because like blood volume, will have reduced a bit, and it's hard to know, like, a heart rate changes or RPE changes because of detraining, or is it because of you're still not quite right? So it's just being sensible, I think. And I feel that if I can reasonably smoothly get back into training, I can get myself back into the shape I was for Barcelona, or like where I was like a week ago, which, like, I did about 40k run, which I spoke about, like 40k at 420 something a k, 424 a k, and that was like one of the best sessions I've ever done. So I think I can get myself back there in 5.5 weeks or whatever it is now. Just not panicking is probably the most important thing to do. I think that's what I'd be telling someone if it was one of the athletes I coach and not me. Just taking as much time as you need, because then the comeback is more likely to go smoothly. So yeah, we jinxed it by saying we need to do another Road 2 series because we're too good outcomes. But again, like I said, I had blips in that road into Valencia, and came out with a big PB.
Yeah, because that wasn't the only time you were ill in the Valencia, was it? So
that was the only time I took time off, but I had a couple of I had a few days of modified training. Like 3 weeks after, I've got a week where I only did 137k, and I think I did 3 days where I only ran 7 or 8k. So yeah, it's never going to be perfect, and actually you got to just zoom out and look at the big picture in that. Since Valencia, to be honest, like, my average mileage has been very high. I've done 2 sessions a week every week, minus like when I've been racing. And you're not going to lose all that in 10 days of reduced training. So reduced or no training. So yeah, it will come back. You just, at the minute, I'm in a bit of a bad mood. I'm a bit frustrated. I just want to get back into things. But I've also not felt like running, and I had so much other stuff to do. But it's not. I've not just been moping on the sofa. So yeah. Well, hopefully more positive news next week.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just it's not necessarily like a listener question, but just to talk about something else just for 5 more minutes. Like, have you started to think about your fueling for London yet? I know that I it's Rich and me asking that. I did that about a week before.
I'm going to try and do what I did. Repeat what I did in Valencia, which was take on 110 grams an hour, because I seemed to I tolerated it well, but I didn't absorb it. Is my hypothesis, because I did throw up loads on the finish line, although I didn't feel nauseous during the run. But I obviously wasn't absorbing it because it was still in my stomach. I've got drinks to the gels, so hopefully that should make it a bit more tolerable. I do find they're more easily to absorb.
Are you going to mix drinks and gels, or do you think you'll like attach a gel to the drinks? Or
just drink mix? I think that is my preferred option, drink over gels in general. I have been fueling pretty much every session, so I'm hoping that's going to help as well. Like the last 2 weeks, I think, or 2 weeks before the last 2 weeks of full training, I think every session I was fueling. So I hope I can get back to it and keep practicing that, which will help get more carbohydrate transporters in the gut and all that stuff we've talked about before.
And that'll be bottles every 5k. What is it for the?
It's pretty much every 5k, isn't it? Yeah. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what now. It's gone.
Still at the fuzzy illness brain.
Oh, it's just my brain. It's getting old, you see. 31 soon. 31 31 on Sunday. Old. Just hopefully we can get back to normal training, and it doesn't just disappear like that. I keep telling myself, if I can just have 5 solid weeks, 5.5 solid weeks, doesn't need to be spectacular, just needs to be solid. I'll be good to go.
Yeah, cool. Shall we we'll leave it there. A bit of a short one this week, but
not much training to dive into. It's only so much you can talk about 68.5k of running.
Hopefully, interested to see. Hopefully you're back to it.
I think worst case scenario is that I have to jog. I start jogging this week and I start sessioning again next week. That's the worst case scenario.
And it's not like jogging's like inferior, is it?
No, and I think actually, that's at this point that'd be enough to at least stop the slide in fitness.
Well, I don't know. You probably not had enough time, but the guy that won the LA Marathon this weekend ran 2:07, which is good for an American. And it's a hilly marathon, and I think I'm trusting a Let's Run thread here, but it sounds like he did 4 sessions in the 12 weeks before the marathon, and he did 4 weeks over 100 miles. Everything's just easy running. So it's hard. It's hard to get people out of that mindset, isn't it? That you don't have to do sessions to get fit.
Yeah. I mean, with my, there's so much of it is just mileage, isn't it? Like there's only so much intensity can compensate for mileage.
Yeah.
Because you do like 15 minutes, you take an extreme of like, right, we're going to do a 5k race pace session, 15 minutes of volume, but like how much can you achieve in 15 minutes of work?
Yeah.
Versus like when I'm doing my 16k, 10k doubles, I'm doing like an hour and 50 minutes of running. Like you need the intensity, but you can't compensate for volume.
Yeah. So it's not.
Just if I can just get back to running, that would be nice.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Right. Now we'll wrap it up, shall we?
Yeah, we'll leave it there. But thanks for bearing with us for the extra day. And we'll be back to it next week.